right? Sometimes now that it's a new thing. Hey guys, if in case you're catching, me and Bryan are kind of talking a little. You're catching a little bit of the backstage stuff going on. We're having a show tonight. We're calling it Going Local because Bryan LoRusso is passionate about going local. So you guys that are already here, Shelly and Patricia, thank you guys out there on YouTube. I'm going to share the link around a little bit, and we are going to we're just going to talk about how this never ending cycle of making our lives more expensive through purportedly beneficial things, and it's like I don't know, man. We're Bryan's going to break it down. I'm going to break it down. We're going to add color, flavor, texture, all sorts of stuff, and you guys are going to just love it. We won't be taking any radio breaks because there's no way Bryan and I can do make it through a show without cursing our faces off, probably. And so just bear with me 1 minute, guys. I'm going to share this around. I'm going to get it out there to people. Some people have asked me for the link directly because they can't figure out how Facebook works. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. I'm just teasing you. But anyways, what you guys should do so you don't miss anything is subscribe to the Freedom Variant on YouTube. You should set your yes to notifications when it comes to my page. Those things, you will never miss a live with me if you do those things, and that would be great.
Do you know I still haven't done that?
What's that?
I still haven't subscribed. I'm always watching you, and you guys are like, there's a Facebook user with a comment. And I'm like, it's me.
Well, sometimes it's you, but then there's that John Thuman guy who actually sounds a lot like you when he's writing comments. And I'm like, why? We can't just jump on who this is. We have to kind of take it out. So I'm still going to do the radio intro, and I'm still going to ask you guys to like and comment and share because that's how we get this word out. And guys, this local politics, Bryan actually makes local politics exciting because he finds those things that we all know to be true, that the system supports itself, the system is growing, that it's costing all of us our kids' futures. That's what it's costing us. Hold on. So hang on. Let's play the intro so everybody gets a big taste of this.
Now, an hour of clarity for exhausted people of our nation mired in toxic partisanship. Left versus right, us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, guys, this is a special episode of Free Solution. It's me and the man, the myth, the legend, Bryan LoRusso. And I entitled this show Going Local because it sounded a little bit like Going Local because when you and I get together, we get a little bit crazy and we dive deep on issues that people tend to overlook because of the busyness of their everyday lives. They wonder why their taxes are going up. They're wondering why in our Otsego County properties are still falling in the ground. They're wondering why Kathy Hochul has the nerve to say crazy things like the reason why people aren't staying in New York is because of a lack of affordable housing. And then her solution is to build housing directly and use the government to make her friends rich and your guys' politicians and their buddies putting money in their pockets. It's absolute reality. It's something that we've got to fight. And Bryan LoRusso is a man ready for a fight. What are we going to talk about first tonight, Bryan? What do you got?
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, Dave, Patricia, and Rhonda, and Tim, and Robert. Good to see you here. I've been watching a couple different things. First off, I want to remind everybody on your local level elections, you've got judgeships coming up. You've got in the town of Hartwick, town of supervisor seat is coming up. 2 board members, a clerk, and that's in every local town. So check it out. Look at who you got coming up because, in my opinion, we ain't gonna win this on a big scale. You gotta take it. You gotta take it right to home, and take home back.
I'm thinking about, guys. Listen, if I run for a judgeship, I literally will do every single thing I can to not convict anyone of traffic infractions. I am not kidding. I stand against all sorts of traffic infractions. It's a way to punish poor people. It's a way to punish the middle class. And I know our sheriffs and our state boys are kind of decent about not hitting us too hard with every little thing they could get us. But I can't. I trust me, guys. Vote for me. I will fight your traffic infractions for you. That's my campaign slogan.
You know, in the meantime, though, I'm watching all this go on with this. A lot of people in Otsego County, they send me messages. Hey, did you hear this? Hey, can you help me with that? A lot of things have been popping up with this local paid EMS. So
paid EMS is the emergency what? Vehicles, they run around. What do they do here?
It's our ambulance. It's our group of ambulances. You call for it. You call 911. 911 sends an ambulance. Now, over the years, I'm talking years, decades, Otsego County has had volunteers, wonderful people. From what I know, it's 30 firehouses. It's 18 EMS houses. They have they have ambulances in 18 locations throughout the county.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea.
I've often fought for, we don't reimburse them for their gas they use. They get no thanks whatsoever. We demand that they get training, and then they got to go do it on their own dime. We demand that they do this, but they got to do it on their own time. So they're beating them down and beating them down. Nothing, no tax breaks, no. Hochul just came out with a tax break for them, which I was shocked at. First good thing I've seen that woman do, probably in her lifetime, but it was a good idea. And why? Because everybody keeps saying our volunteerism are down. Our volunteerism is down. Well, keep kicking them in the teeth. You think they're going to come back?
It was an issue that I tried to raise, and I raised a little bit during my campaign for Senate. Okay, that we beat up on our volunteer guys and girls out there doing a job. Simply, guys, they do it simply to protect their communities. They get absolutely nothing. The state was continuously raising the requirements of their education, raising the requirements of who had to be on scene, and lowering their effectiveness at serving our communities. And so people were getting frustrated. And as a part of the big leave of New York, which we see going on all the time, people that were like volunteering their time, they could do it easier, better, and get a better deal in other states. And that's an absolute reality. We failed and we continue to fail. And Bryan, so our solution now is apparently we're going to beat up on the taxpayer, right? Like,
so you're going to love this one. So they start, and this has been very quiet. I mean, this was not voted on. They didn't even send a memo saying, hey guys, what do you think about this idea? They come up with so the county gets 11 point something million for our attaboy, pat on the back, way to go, way to go. Here's your 11 million for being
good. Bonuses they handed out with that.
We're glad you crushed those nurses. We're glad you kicked those teachers in the teeth and got rid of them. Here's your 11 million, right? So they give us this 11 million. What do they do? 911 comes around, the sheriff comes around. They go, you know what? We need, because of our volunteerism down, we need more ambulances.
Yeah.
Our county treasurer says, guys, this is a wonderful idea. And I agree. Beautiful idea. But we can't afford it. Our county treasurer says, great idea, but we can't afford it.
Yeah.
You should give them a call and find out the timing of when they approved it versus when he said it. He said it. He went on military leave. They pushed it through while he was gone.
Oh,
now they dedicate 3 point something million of the COVID relief fund to 4 ambulances. We now are up to 25 employees. I'm hearing the payrolls are staggering.
Well, they're going to be, right? They're going to be huge.
Of course.
And I think it always pays to be clear about certain things. Like, these jobs are for our local people. They were doing it for free, which was amazing. They might as well be the ones getting paid, and they might as well get paid well. The problem is that it's all going to end up getting dumped in our laps in an already expensive state to live in.
So they got funding.
One of the many.
They got funding for this till the end of 23. That's 9 months from now. All right. They have no budget. They have no business plan. They have no real path forward other than dumping it on the taxpayer right now. So it's sort of like that Manor project they built years ago. County we need our own old age home and we're going to build it. Treasurer, what does she do? She says, absolutely not. We can't fund it. We can't afford this. And what happens? They build it. It fails. Sell it. MOSA, here's a great idea. Let's do this. And MOSA winds up on your bill. Now, today, they don't call it MOSA. It's like the federal government. The government has a program. It fails. What do? They change the name, and they keep on taxing you. So look at your tax line on your tax bill. It now says, I don't know. Solid waste. Right.
Yes, solid waste. And you were making a point about that they're not going to be able to simply add a line item to your taxes to fund this ambulance system that they're doing. And look, guys, again, in concept, we had people doing it for free and we were treating them like crap. Now we're going to pay. Like, we could have just treated them better, like, and been better off. They were doing it out of the kindness of their heart, man.
Yeah, and just keep that 3.4 million to 3 million in the back of your head, and how much good that could have done in just paying for some training that you're demanding them to get. By the way, that's an unfunded mandate.
It is unfunded. Yeah,
you want them to get trained, pay for it. That's all there is to it.
They get $200 a year, Brian. I don't know what you're talking about. They get $250 a year in some sort of tax incentive. So you give them a small tax incentive on their property, set up for the youth. These kids can volunteer at 16 years old. How about you put a little scholarship, fund together for them? Nothing. They keep on pounding on them. So they go ahead and they do this. Now we're up to 25 employees where, we got 4 new ambulances. We have 4 new ambulances, and they have no plan moving forward. I heard that Dan Wilbur's now saying, we're just going to, your taxes aren't going to go up. We're just going to hit you with $30 a year, everybody, and that'll take care of it. That's a load of shit, by the way. Which is a tax, by the way. Like,
right.
We're not going to tax you, but we're gonna is tax you.
Here's the fallacy. First off, from what I was told, the county went to the state with this business plan. The state said you can't tax people and then bill them on the back end. That's double dipping. So that kind of threw a wrench in their works. And I'm going to get to our MOSA garbage situation.
There's an analogy there, isn't there?
Well, the bells started going off, wait. Every commercial building, $60 a year. Every resident, $30 a year. And when you take your garbage to the dump, here's your bill. So that's exactly what would happen here. And the state told them no. Let me go one step further. And for any of Mr. Wilbur's friends out there, what happens when I pay my $30? So you're gonna dump that on me, and the ambulance comes, and you send it to my insurance company, and my insurance company doesn't pay the bill because it doesn't make the deductible. What happens then? Here's the scary part. Let's say my bill's $990, my deductible's $1,000. My insurance company goes, yeah, fuck you, right? Now I got a $900 bill,
right?
Which inadvertently is a bill from the county. Follow this: the bill you can't afford to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it goes to the county. Now they add it to your tax debt. Wait. A foreclosure. Do I see a foreclosure in mine? Realtors and brokers. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. It's a winner.
we've
they're going to wind up foreclosing on more people because of this.
We've talked so much about how much they're so into taking people's properties from them, making them homeless, forcing them out, making them destitute, seizing their excess proceeds. Okay, so when they take a property, they sell it at auction, and the person owes $10,000. The county sells the property for $20,000. That person doesn't see any of that $10,000. It's nasty, nasty business.
It is. It's really bad business. And, so long story short, from what I hear right now, they still don't have a business plan. And everybody, I've called Alan Ruffles, our county executive. He said, I will be pleased to talk to anybody that wants to call to ask these questions.
Yeah.
The man told them not to do it. They did it. They spent $3.5 million of our money, and it's running out at the end of 23. They've taken 25. By the way, Dan Wilbur was asked this question at a board meeting, and I asked Mr. Robert O'Brien. I met with him last Sunday. I get along with the man. We have very good conversations, and I asked him, Bobby, how many volunteers that were volunteers out of our 18 houses in the county, how many of them are now $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year on our payroll? Every one of them. 100%. Now, I think maybe probably 95%, but he said every one of them came from the volunteer houses. But wait, the whole thing is our volunteerism is down. So what did you do? You took one man or woman that was been a wonderful human being to our community. Not that they don't deserve the 50 grand, but how did that help the volunteer department? How?
It's the end result and the short-sightedness of government. They get into our lives, they get their hooks into us, and then they, like Dan Wilbur saying, we're not going to tax you, we're just going to charge you $30 on your property tax bill. It's like, well, what the heck? So look, like, we got to give a shout out to some people out there leaving us great comments. Here's a good one. This is my buddy Cliff. I think people are afraid or just don't want to volunteer anymore because of how they are treated and looked at. Even if they are helping someone has a problem, that's the curse of social media. But then there's also the whole, like, the government adds requirements regularly to what they're supposed to know and what they're supposed to do as part of their volunteer service. It's a ridiculous deal, man. So yeah, I get it. What do you think?
They have a lot of requirements on them. But even when I ran for supervisor last race, we've got to run programs for our children. We've got to run programs for our volunteers. Once again, that 5%, tax credit. We get these youths involved and get them in there at 16 and give them a little scholarship fund. How about just a gas reimbursement card for them getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning while my house is on fire and coming to put it out?
Amazing, right? They don't even get compensated for that.
No. And everybody keeps saying that there's this mandate. They're mandated to do it. They're mandated. I've heard from a few people that talk to the state, and the state hasn't mandated jack shit. The state would like them to be this and would like them to do that, but there are no mandates. There are no, you have to do it. To the point, one guy said, I talked to the state, and the state said, we haven't dared mandate it. If we thought about mandating it, wouldn't be until 2030. And that's because our volunteerism is so down, we would lose everybody. So even the dumbass state recognizes that they can't ram this down someone's throat. From what I understand, the only requirement is you need to be able to drive a truck, do CPR, and get them to the fucking hospital.
So what you're saying is your local politicians lie, just like George Santos. It's saying they do these things. They say they make up mandates that aren't actually mandates. Maybe they passed a resolution at some point in their history. They don't even know, and then they just like write it off and say the state's making us do it. Is that?
Well, yeah. Well, and there's in our county, we've got some. I'm going to call them. We've got some radical left people that are absolutely convinced big government is the answer to everything. So they're out there.
Hang on, what party are they in? What political party are they
they're
at?
definitely far left Democrats.
I don't know.
Very radical. I don't know. You know what? They could. I don't know what a party is anymore. It's all
there you go. That's what I was getting at. Because I look at Dave Wilbur and I'm like, this guy is. I'm not. I look at George Santos and I'm like, do you guys have you not caught on yet? Like, some of these guys are not. They're not who they're purporting to be. Okay. And when they're saying government should do this, and when a Republican says, hey, we're not going to tax you, we're just going to add a $30 user fee, like I'm sitting here as a libertarian going, why aren't you guys waking up to this? Like, we've got to wake up here and say, we've got to draw some lines. Anyways, let's give Len Bernardo a shout out. You pay, I pay, everyone pays. That's the government theme, right? Yep. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
Yep. Well, and it's true. And I'm what I see here. I see the back end problems for people. That all right, the $30. It's only 30, but there's 15 of those 30s on our bill. Right. But on the back end, they're going to leave you. They're going to say, "Oh, we're only going to hit you with 30." And we got 42,000 properties. It averages around 1.5 million. I did some math, rough math. It's around 1.5 million just for that average $30 number.
Right.
Who knows? Commercial, just like the MOSA / solid waste, it's 60 for commercial, 30 for residents.
One of the issues, Brian, is that I pointed out that oftentimes we get some sort of government grant or some sort of bigger government encouragement to do a program. They give us a bunch of money. We start the program. And then that program, like MOSA specifically, gets dumped in our lap,
yes.
Gets increasingly expensive. And look, guys, I don't know, like single source recycling, it doesn't make any sense to me. They're all throwing it in a garbage landfill somewhere. They're not doing anything with it.
90% of the grants are not grants. They're traps.
Right. Traps is a good way to describe these grants.
They're traps. We're going to help you get off the ground. And this is here's all the money you need. And then at the end of the day, who's left maintaining it, funding it, continue the reoccurring revenue gets dumped on us.
Yeah, and this is worse than a bridge, right? Like, they can give us most of the money for a bridge and we've got to maintain the bridge when we didn't really need the bridge to begin with. But we're going to be incurring, salaries. We're going to be incurring vehicle maintenance. We're going to be incurring all these things.
Vehicle storage, equipment, salaries. I want to point something out. We have 18 houses, right?
Right.
18 houses. Let's just say there's 10 volunteers in those houses each. That's 180 people.
Right.
And let's just say each house has one ambulance.
Right.
That's 18 ambulances. These guys are burning through millions. 25 people, 4 ambulances. People have also got confirmation from this guy Wilbur. This guy's a genius, apparently. He's like, yes, and we plan on sending our ambulances out of county for long distance transport. So wait, you're telling us they're here to support our volunteers. But on the other side, you're saying, yeah, but we're going to deliver to Rochester and Albany and Syracuse. Who's covering them when they're out of county? Oh, wait, let me guess. We're just going to grow this bigger.
Well, they're going to build. That's the problem. Government getting involved in business, and we're seeing this incrementally increasing every day. And so when they fail, who picks up the tab? And
our money's gone. Yeah.
So
it's such the $3.5 million they're going to spend in this budget. They budgeted for this. The amount of good stuff we could have done with an existing. We already created the wheel. All right, with volunteers. We already have our ambulances. We already have our Good Samaritans. We don't advertise. I travel. I travel all over the nation for the military. Right. Every time I turn on a television in another state, in another county, maybe not so close to here, but every time I'm in a hotel, I turn on the television. There is support your local volunteers. Go to this website to see all the benefits you can get. And those benefits, you can actually look them up. 5% on your property tax, gas cards, college tuitions, all kinds of thank yous, if I may. They're thank yous. They're not stipends. They're not paying it. They're thank yous for watching out for my children. Someone said to me on social media the other day, well, you'll think twice if your child gets into a life-threatening situation. Well, bitch, my son had a motorcycle accident on my property. Broken spleen, punctured lungs. The boy was next to dead. Broken face, broken nose, broken arm, broken leg, broken ribs. And our volunteers got him to Bassett, where they almost killed him, and I had to have him flown to Albany. So all of this just to get him to that death trap Bassett. On top of it, wait, we'll pick you up and keep you safe so Bassett can fuck you. Holy shit! I'm sorry. It's insanity.
We're living.
My volunteers saved my son's life. I'll go with them any day of the week.
Did you see that Mary T. Imogene Bassett, the 57th, just resigned from Governor Hochul's administration?
No, I didn't.
No, they got to appoint a new health czar for New York State because she just resigned. I don't think people realize just how connected and generational wealth and money is. So, Mary, the namesake of Bassett, our Bassett Hospital, Mary T. Imogene Bassett, has a descendant that serves in New York State government. Just so you guys know, making like $250,000 a year to write articles occasionally. Our buddy Ken Williams is out there tonight, Bryan. America is a volunteer nation. Education, state, rules, county policy is attacking our great community volunteers. We, the people, are victims. It's hard to argue with that. Is there anything you find wrong about what he's saying?
You can't argue with it. You've got a bunch of these people out there that never built anything. They were popular. They became your politician. Most of them never turned a screw. Yet they're making rules, and their rules are costing us money. It's their pet projects. They can't see further down the road. They don't understand what they're doing. And if they do understand, it's because somewhere along the line, they're benefiting. Look at Dan Wilbur. He's jumping up and down on on their Zoom meeting going, ooh, I want to take care of the county fair stuff. He's the consultant to the county fair.
It's just virtue signaling. They serve this thing of I'm better than you because I do these things. And it's like, guys, you're killing the
at the end of the day, half the people that can't afford the damn food, half the people that can't afford the food in the shopping in the store, they're going to wind up getting foreclosed on. They're going to wind up losing their homes. They're already struggling. And these idiots are out there creating such a monster that they don't even see it. They don't even understand what they're doing. And if they do, they're sick bastards that need to go.
But they feel good about themselves, and people kind of worship them for their stunning bravery and their virtuosity. We try to make the point that they're not doing us favors, and then they just, what do? They call us names, right?
Well, and it is frightening. You know me, I do pretty well in life. They hit me with that. If they hit me with that $30, I'll laugh at them, tell them to go pound salt, and here's your check.
Right, that's it.
That $30 for me is not going to crush me, but I can think of 10 neighbors around here that it will.
Right, and that $30 or the $990 ambulance ride that you were talking about,
that your insurance doesn't cover, God forbid.
Right.
Is Dan Wilbur going to say, I guarantee you the county will cover anything your insurance doesn't?
I don't know, man. Be careful. Yeah. We breathe these things into existence, and it's just taxes are going up more, man.
By the way, just so everybody knows, all of their billing right now is soft billing. So they're billing your insurance company. But you didn't call them. You called your volunteers. County shows up. They bill you. So, but because they can't bill you, because this is not a legal program, it's soft billing. If I were you, I would send your bill to the state and ask them if you have to pay it, because your insurance company, whatever your insurance company didn't pay, you're getting billed the balance.
You're volunteering to pay, like soft billing,
You
guys.
are volunteering to pay, correct?
Yeah, soft billing is where they don't really have a legal claim to come after you for it.
Correct.
So keep that in mind, guys. I'm not saying, whatever, but just keep that in mind. So Patricia brings up, it's like volunteering with the Scouts, Boy Scouts of America. You pay your own way to be a role model. On some level, that's true, but these guys, we could have found creative ways to avoid the situation and avoid the road that we're heading down that would have made it more interesting for some younger people to get involved in it. And yeah, like I want them to be benefited from my community in the same way that they're benefiting my community by their volunteer services. And what's going to happen instead is it's going to get really expensive. That's a reality.
And not to mention, volunteerism is down. Just think that one through for a minute. You and me are on the same volunteer squad for 20 years. I decide I'm going to jump onto the this genius plan. Now I'm making 50, 60, 70,000 a year from the same house that you're working in, and you're not getting a dime for it.
Oh, forget about it. No one's.
Well, tell me they didn't crush that. Tell me they did not just stepped right on it. They literally did. So they literally smacked every volunteer in the face, going, "Yeah, you know what? Whatever. You don't get nothing. I want you, though, to join our team." They did nothing, absolutely nothing, but crush the volunteerism.
Yeah.
When they could have just taken that $3.5 million and said, "Hey, you know what? Go get your people trained. Here's your gas card. Thank you very much. Yep. Let's start a program." It's amazing how they recreate the wheel just to grow government.
Well, look at what Shelley's saying here. She got a call from her town supervisor saying that her tractor was stolen. She said a friend of hers was using it with a York rake, raking the ball fields at the park. What I'm taking from this is he didn't want the free labor. In other words, that's why the town supervisor called her. Her tractor was in the park doing work that his friend was supposed to be getting paid for. Like, probably that's how it went. Right. I don't know, guys. We're in a lot of trouble in New York State. We have, on top of all this, we could see our taxes are going to go higher and higher, and we're going to hear our government tell us that we don't have affordable housing. And when we look at tenants' rights and property taxes in this state, we created this affordable housing crisis, and the government's going to fix it by fixing all of us into government-owned places to live. Like I know, like that may come off as like a wild exaggeration and fear mongering, but we're on this path of losing people at an alarming rate. We're on this path of like taxes is caught in this vicious cycle of going higher and higher and higher, and we're caught in this cycle of let's tax the billionaires, and like that is not the solution. The solution is always, for me, freedom and liberty. And if we want to solve the housing crisis, there's zoning laws that help create it. Taxes help create it. We're never going to get anywhere unless we look at what created this housing crisis. So that's the reality.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Was that passionate enough? Should I have thrown in some F words or something? Because I'm pretty mad about it. Like,
no, it's true, and all they do is raise the cost on everything of living and then go, "Oh, yeah, this is horrible. We have nowhere for our people to rent houses from." Well, what the hell do you think it did? It's a vicious cycle. It continuously chases itself. I'm also hearing that, I'm hearing from volunteers, and I'm hearing from even some of the paid EMS people that I know. They're getting toned out, winding up on the same call, and they're arguing about whose call it is.
Yeah, right. Like, is it more like that's my call, so I get paid, or is it like that's not my call, I'm still getting paid?
Well, they're actually we know a man that just popped up on social media that he wouldn't let county take him, so they handed him a $300 bill anyway. He didn't call the county.
Oh my
He
God.
didn't call the county. So like I said, there's all this soft billing. We got these guys sitting all over the place. They're down in Fly Creek, 2 men sitting in a vehicle all day long, waiting for that tone. Machines running, can't shut them off, can't let them cool down. So these machines are running at the cost of diesel. 2 guys sitting there waiting. It's astronomical. It's astronomical. And we only got 25 of them. Once again, how are they going to help improve the speed of the call when there's only 4 ambulances out there? We already have 18. So wouldn't logic dictate you need at least 18 to be as good or fast as our volunteers? All right, maybe not 18. 12?
At least, right? Like I get what you're saying.
One for every 2 towns.
Right. So we got a bunch of comments out there.
I know. I'm sorry.
I know. Like, well, first of all, we appreciate the comments. They're important. We're going to try to get to a bunch of them. As you guys have watched Bryan and I in the past, we get pretty passionate. We go off on tangents, and guys, we just literally want to save our state because we love our state, right? So a big shout out to Tim Shore here. Tim Shore did a little clandestine campaigning and got himself elected to his town board, that is how we change the world, Tim. I just want to tell you, like, I've been working down in Long Island. I've been busy, and I know you're busy, so we haven't got a chance to catch up. But I just want to give a big shout out to the effort you put in, and a huge congratulations for taking the initiative to help make this a better place. I'm very, very happy that you did that. And I know you're going to be calling these guys out. I can't wait to hear about it. I hope some of it makes a newspaper. It's going to be good stuff. It's going to be good stuff, without a doubt. Here's Rhonda Martin. Let's see if we could decipher this, because we get going off on a tangent. And on top of sending out a county, I'm quite sure our highly skilled ALS are not getting recertification, so we're down to BLS. So she seems to really know about the system, so that's good. Actually talking about stuff that's a little bit over my head as far as certifications and recertifications go. We're going to have a problem if we lose more volunteers and don't hire enough people fast enough, right?
BLS,
be an issue.
BLS is this basic, and then ALS is advanced. I don't know a tremendous amount of it either. All I do know is, it's a great idea. We can't afford it. There's a lot of great ideas out there. We just can't afford it. But we can afford to blow $3.5 million that we're going to piss down the tubes because we can't continue it. It's not sustainable. We don't have a good game plan. Or, wait, maybe the county plans on consuming all of the volunteer departments and all the tax money. Because I know in Hartwick, we have 60, 65, 70 grand going to one house and the same going to the other. So maybe they assume the responsibility.
That's their business plan.
It could be. It could be. But even that, the amount of volunteers compared to the amount of people we need on a paid program would absolutely cripple the taxpayer, the county. It would. It would. The math is just staggering. Yeah. And they haven't done it, which is even
the state will just pick up the bill. It's just magic money, Bryan. Don't you understand? New York City will pay our bills like they do all the time. Which, guys, I want you to know right off the top of my head, and I stand that has been a lie and an exaggeration that the people in power have used for decades, that New York City pays upstate's bills. New York City crushed upstate New York with its condemnation of our land, with its taking our property rights, with filling in towns with water. And that, guys, is an absolute reality. So New York City owes us, if there's anything. And I don't think that they do contribute to the taxes of upstate New York. I think we take care of our own. I think it's a myth that when they say that New York City pays the bills for New York State. Besides, New York City always seems like it's underwater. Like they just spent $50 billion on a train station or some outrageous number that was originally budgeted for like $2 billion is now like $20 billion. Bassett is bad. Patricia, I wanted to deal with this one. There's stories about every hospital being bad. I would Kind of. I've had some good experiences at Bassett, but I'm pretty healthy. I've heard some really bad stories about people who had major problems and ended up broke and losing their property to Bassett. I think that's a big concern for me.
You know, and the whole losing a property thing is really frightening to me when I watch. You've seen me talk about our foreclosures in our county. You've seen the county reps and their full-time jobs. They're all brokers, realtors on land banks. Here's a quick story. My wife is looking at a property over the holidays. She gets on Zillow. She sends him a message. Bliss actually called her back. Zillow said, "We'll have a representative call you shortly." Who calls my wife? Bliss.
Oh
my
my
wife
God.
is like, "I got Bliss on the phone." And it's
Oh,
like, you're
geez.
kidding me. So I don't know, man. I worry about people. 340 something, foreclosures. They're
It's a crisis, right? But the government caused the crisis. The government's at the center of the crisis. So nobody, not the Daily Star, no news outlet is going to call it a crisis. Okay, a crisis of taxation is not a crisis in these people's minds, and that, my friends, is horse shit. Okay, absolute horse shit. Our failing economy in upstate New York is a crisis. We've been regulated out of manufacturing jobs. We're regulating farmers out of business, and all of it is horseshit. I like this comment. What do you think?
I like the comment too, Ralph Seamer. That wouldn't be a that wouldn't be a bad idea. We should probably send that recommendation over to him.
We, as a suggestion, because apparently right now he can't really do much with it. So if he kowtows to the powers that be, they'll be like, "All right, let's get you all your permits. You're going to take care of homeless people."
And that's just, once again, you look at your taxes. You look at your taxes compared to your representatives' taxes, or your committee people's taxes, or
Let's break this one down, all right? Like, this one's a big one, but first I'm trying to find a comment from Robert Force. We're giving him flashbacks about the county who, as we all know now, foreclosed on his property for political reasons, okay? Like, they have cut so much slack for so many people, and they went after Robert hard because he was pro-natural gas, and that's a reality. And they did it to signal their virtue. And Robert, our hearts are with you. And if I do get to be judge, I will do whatever I can to reopen your case, right? Like, that's a reality. No one in this current system would vote for me to be a judge, though, because I'm right up front. Like, I just don't think they would do it. So on that assessment thing, I got this story I want to tell you. All right. I bought a property, I want to say in 2017, give or take, right? It was a broken down mobile home. I reached out to the lady. She was back on, like, late on her taxes. The county was threatening to take it. I bought it for like $15,000, right?
Right.
My assessment comes in at $95,000 on that property. Okay. I called my local tax assessor, and she says, "Oh yeah, we'll take a look at that for you. But it's probably done for this year, right?" We come back all the way through another cycle. She promised she was going to take a look at it. She probably came, didn't lower my assessment one dime after the first year of owning it. It was still assessed at $95,000. I called her to talk to her about it. She was vicious. She was nasty. She was impolite. And she's like, "Well, it gets busy around here." And I'm like, I bought the property. This is a fully depreciated, double wide. Anything I do to it is going to be saving it, and I want to rent it to people, right? She was so incredibly rude, okay? And and mean, plain and simply mean, like I was some sort of big money guy. Guys, I've lived in upstate New York my whole life, okay? I built a small little construction business. I don't have tons of money. I tried to do something good for my neighborhood. There was piles and piles of garbage at this place. I wanted to fix it up. I wanted to rent it out, and I couldn't get her. It took her a year. Then she finally lowers my assessment. That means now it's still assessed at $95,000 all the way till the next year. She comes back and assesses it for $57,000. And she's like, I could go to court and fight it. And it's like, why should I have to do that when I go over there on my nights and weekends and clean up garbage from this place because it's a disaster and a health hazard, and the county couldn't do anything about that? And so these people are mean.
Right.
These people are nasty. And anyways, what do you got to say about that? Am I right?
What do I got to say about that? I think we should be fighting for an elected tax assessor. You want to know why these tax assessors are so comfortable? Because their board appointed them there. You want to know why? You want to know why every one of your representatives around the towns, the counties, on the committees, you want to know why they're so assessed so nicely? Is because they're the ones that hired the tax assessor. Do you really think the guy or girl that gets appointed by her board, his or her board, do you really think they're going to go to the supervisor's house and go, hey, I got to assess your house first? It never happens. Look at Bliss. Look at McCarthy. Look at the Brockways. Look at even our former supervisors. Look at who puts their tax assessor in place, and then look at their assessments. I went to the town of Hartwick with my lawyer. I sent her. I didn't even bother going. Took 5 of my properties. I'm going to tell the story again. I said, here's everybody's comparison. Tell me how my properties are worth this, and this. And if you tell me that my properties are worth that, I will pay my taxes. Raise theirs. You raise theirs. I'll pay my taxes. You raise theirs. They lowered me $469,000.
Oh my God.
On 5 pieces of property instead of going after the people that goddamn elected them.
Well, that's the system.
Appointed them. That's what's going on here. Look at every town. Every town.
It's happening everywhere.
So the old guard, we have a meeting on the 4th. Come up. We're going to talk about it. We're going to help people. I want to do a seminar to help them go look at all their representatives, right?
I love this idea.
All right. And I'm going to show you how you can compare your property right on the county website, by the way. Stick their paperwork up their own hiney, all right, and say, here, I have a 2-acre piece of property. You got me at $30,000. It's an empty piece. You got me at $30,000, but you got Bliss at 2. Either raise him or lower me. Right. These are factual. I have the bank down in town, right? You have that at $290,000, a 100-year-old building. Yet across the street, you got Martha Clarveau at $22,000. I'd pay $22,000. At $22,000.
How much do you think her house would sell for?
It's a commercial building on top of it. Not even a house, a commercial building. They got her at $22,000.
Man.
Right.
Guys, I'm telling you, that's the business to get into. That's why Bryan and I are trying to break into government, because we can take care of our friends just like the system is taking care of their friends.
Listen, you know what? I want my friends, your friends, even my enemies paying our fair share. Period.
I want no taxes. Taxation is theft, Bryan. Taxation is theft. We need to fund these things through creative use taxes, sales taxes, and participation taxes.
Listen. The only way you lower property taxes is by sales tax.
Right.
It's by revenue. All right. So you can keep pissing all over these people so they don't paint their houses, so they don't grow their businesses, so no one wants to come to your community and spend money. And then you'll pay taxes for the rest of your life until one of your representatives forecloses on your house. But it's happening. I slammed them with 5 pieces. And by the way, also watch this: rolls and grievance. They're supposed to announce it multiple times each when they sit with rolls, your tax assessor, and when they sit with grievance. My tax assessor, he ran the article in one newspaper for one day for 4 towns. When they're supposed to run individual towns multiple locations for multiple days.
Okay.
And you know what he says to the board on Zoom on top of it? Well, I couldn't find where it doesn't say I couldn't do it this way.
What a pathetic excuse, guys.
Right.
Let's check out Tim O'Connor, the Freedom Variance comment. He's joking about Bryan and him grifting the government. Am I though? I don't know. I'm just saying, guys, it's a system that is broken. And guys, if we end the Fed, the rest poof gone. I am going to do a show because I'm like economically interested and I've done studies. There's this whole thing where we've not only used taxes to steal from you, the government has stolen our technological advancement from us in the form of taxes and devaluating the currency. I'm going to do my best to make it interesting for you. Tonight's not that night, but yes, end the Fed, go back to a reasonable, sane monetary policy where money has value. That would be a step in the right direction.
So it's just endless, man. Endless.
I think it's important. Let's because we are getting up on an hour, and I know you've got to go, guys like me and Bryan travel all over the world for jobs because jobs aren't here necessarily, right? So Bryan's got to go on the road tomorrow. But you mentioned something I want to highlight. February 4th, and guys, these things are fun. Okay, Bryan does a nice job, puts on a little presentation. And guys, he's going to help you see, like with your own hands and your own computer, exactly what he's seen about your local assessor grifting and granting favors to the people that serve on the board, to the people that serve on the county board, and to sometimes, like if it was a volunteer fire guy, I would look the other way. Okay, like I'll be honest with you, I'm corrupt like that. But like this is a consistent thing. That there are perks to being in government that people don't understand. Assessors should be elected. They get appointed for terms of 7 years or 10 years, and they're obnoxious. They do everything they can to take care of the town and the money, and it destroys business and it destroys the housing, like future housing in this state. And it destroys guys like me's initiative to like go fix up places because I love doing it, but I'm not going to do it for you and for the government. I'm not doing it for the government. I'm doing it to serve my neighbors. And when I have to serve the government to do it, that makes it untenable, period. So you guys have prevented me from doing what I love doing, the government. Keep it up. Great job. As people flee the state, at what point do you guys get the message? At what point, Bryan, will they get the message?
You know, I honestly think, some of us are diehards. Maybe we'll go down fighting. But I think a lot of people are going to lose their homes. A lot of family members, you're going to know someone directly who's going to get their home taken from them. Maybe that's the day you're going to wake up and go, oh, holy shit, maybe this is what they're talking about. Well, all I know on the tax assessor thing, you tell me if you vote for a tax assessor, one would think the job performance would be to keep your taxes where they are or lower them to get reelected.
You would think. I love that. Right? It's incentivized. Right?
If you actually elect, now bear with me. The job pays like shit. Maybe we should pay a decent salary. All right. So the person does a decent job. Figure out where you lost track of that property over the years and it really shouldn't be there. And figure out the Martha Clarvos that spent $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 on her commercial building and why she's at 22 grand. Or her buddy down the street, Gloria Wero, and her house or her commercial building's at 17. Yet right across the street, the 100-year-old bank is at 290. Or the church. Here's another good one, folks. They value a whole bunch of buildings they don't collect tax on very high. The churches. Look at your local churches. They have Pastor Sell, the Baptist church. They got it at $260,000. My church, it was at like $220,000. The Methodist church. They hadn't collected a dime on that church for 183 years. Why is it set there? It's to set a benchmark. It's to set. They have the firehouses assessed. They have the schools assessed. It sets a best benchmark. So the lady in the white building next to the church by me, it's an older building. It needs some work, but it's a beautiful building. They call it the mansion. They got that poor woman at $330,000.
Oh man.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. I remember, and maybe you've run across it, there's something like 62% of the property in Otsego County by dollar valuation pays zero property taxes. It's all
And I
like,
believe that. I would believe that.
yeah, like the
I would believe that.
colleges, the hospitals, the churches.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you keep those numbers really high, there's your automatic comp.
You can
Nice
get some
comp built right in. You know,
Facebook user. I want to deal with your comment right now. Money out of politics, but it's too intertwined, so it won't happen. New York has a remarkable solution to this very problem. What they are going to do is not allow. Oh wait, no. What they're going to do to take the money out of politics is give the politicians and the political parties in New York State, the big two, $100 million of taxpayer money starting in 2024. So that's how big government solves taking money out of politics, by putting your money into politics to the tune. And $100 million, that's just the starting point, guys. It's only going to go up from there. So we're going to be mad about like these people serving businesses with their ideas. They're only going to serve the government and growing the government. This is going to be an epic disaster. It already is a disaster. It's hilarious that we came up with it. It's hilarious that these jokers think that this was a good idea. $100 million of taxpayer money, 2024, to fund elections. Congratulations, New York.
It's just like, and you said it before, I've said it a million times. It's a vicious cycle. You know, they just keep on adding program after program. Like I said, those grants aren't, you know, oh, it's free money. First off, someone paid for the grant to begin with.
There's a back end to them, man.
It's a trap. We're gonna get you so it's drugs. They're drug dealers. We're gonna give you a little taste with this grant, and by the time we're done, you're gonna be hooked. You're gonna be hooked on a tax bill you can't afford.
Let's give you another one that they're doing, right? The city council in Oneonta is chasing grant money for the developer to tear down a building. He's going to put $1 million in and own the building. They're going to find him $11 million to tear down this building and clean up the parking lot. Like, guys, that's bizarro world, okay? That is crazy. This guy is getting so rich off of those people in Oneonta. The city council runs around finding this guy money. That's what they do, period. And he's a contractor, and I'm a little bit afraid to talk. I'm not going to mention his name because who knows? You know, these guys, he's connected.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Well, and I think there is a lot of that going on. Certainly on the state and local levels, I do believe that. I watched the contract in town this summer. They literally gave some guy out of a white van, our town equipment to dig a trench across the park. It's like, wait, who is this person? He's not one of our men using our town equipment to dig a trench. We're paying him to be on our equipment. And we won't even talk about the liabilities of that. It's insanity, man. You know, whose uncle is getting a job? Whose brother is getting a job? You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, how we're spending our money. They're bilking us to begin with, and then we're pissing it away. I mean, and it's like, oh wait, don't worry about it. We'll just ask for more. And what are you going to do? You're going to say no? No, because then you got 14 representatives lined up waiting to foreclose on you. It's frightening.
It's amazing, right?
It is. It is. And I like I said, you want to hit me with another $50? All right, fuck you, and here's your check. Right. But doing that to people that can't, doing that to many people that can't afford that, it's sick. It's honestly sick.
Agree. Like, I you know that we are very much in agreement about a lot of things. So once again, as a reminder to everybody out there, you're a man that you're not just words on the internet, okay? You're not just a guy. You have a program that you're putting together. You want people to come up on February 4th. I'm telling you guys, to do this. Like, it's worth it. I've been there probably 9, 10 times, something like that. You've put on some great shows. You had Larry Sharp up there. How could I miss that? Right? Like, it was like you do things for the community at some personal risk to you. Guys like Dan Wilber put you in their sites. They kind of try to get code enforcement on you.
Yep.
I shared a meme. Let me put this up here for a second. Did you catch this one when I put that on my page?
No.
You see, Piglet, once the gangsters have killed and robbed their way to power and have kept control long enough, then they become the establishment and they give themselves titles.
Yeah.
I was, first of all, sometimes I post things that people don't, I'm A, trying to be funny, B, trying to make people think, but I got an amazing number of likes for something that was that kind of obnoxious,
But everybody knows it's true. I'm not gonna say everybody knows it's true. People are starting to realize it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, and it's not right. It's just not right.
All right, so we made it a whole hour without getting too crazily sideways. I didn't even get to talk about the fact that guy in up near New Hartford who saved a person from getting stabbed to death in an Applebee's most likely has charges coming from New York State because of how the laws are written. There are real problems with what's going on in New York State. And while if they don't charge that guy, they're hypocrites. If they do charge that guy, it proves that the problem with the law is the law. Okay. So I don't find, and as you know, Brian, I don't find answers in the Republican Party because I look at the systems that I'm seeing there. I don't find answers in the Democrat Party, though they have more power. So I always think about joining the Democrat Party and going and screaming, gun control is racism and economic bigotry, and we need to knock it off. We need to be better. But I don't think I'd get anywhere with that. I have one thing coming up. Two things coming up tomorrow night, guys, around 9:00. I'm going to be doing a live with Larry Sharp and a couple of funny people like Adam Nutter and Charla Burnett. These guys are kind of comedians. So it's going to be me and Larry and two cool people hanging out, talking about the possibility of effectively organizing volunteer programs, kind of like what you're doing on Saturday, Brian. Like, get together where we educate each other. We talk about, we organize for the common good. Yeah. So I'd love it if the people that join to watch me and you talk, join me and Larry to make some comments, see if we can make you laugh a little bit. It'll be slightly less serious. It's going to be more on a national level. I'm going to be, I've run some polls and stuff. I'm going to be talking about that. So I hope you join that. Then, of course, Tuesday nights, I do the Free Solution Show with Kevin. And so I guess hope you subscribe to my page. You come join those things. Kevin and I have good conversations. Kevin's a solid dude. He's a libertarian. He's a little bit more, Brian, he's a little more forgiving of the big government kind of things.
I know
this guy thinks that they're well-intentioned, even though they're wrong. And I'm like, they're so incompetent, it's malicious. And so we get into arguments over that. And it's kind of fun. I really enjoy Kevin's outlook and perspective. And he's very positive influence in his community. He does things like he started a volunteer tool shed, like where guys and girls can just loan a tool, leave a tool, go use a tool. It's really kind of cool. And
that is cool.
Yeah, he's doing some good things. So I really appreciate Kevin. And I hope you guys will be joining us. And of course, remember, Brian and I will do more lives in the future, but we've got to get going.
I greatly appreciate everybody joining us tonight. And I thank you for your time. Yeah. As you know, I'm taking off. I see you're getting waved at in the background. What's going on. I'm heading out to Alabama.
There's a kid right there. Let's go, Dad. Let's go.
There's Dan the man. He said,
all right, Dan the man. Thanks for joining the show.
All right, guys.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. And thanks, guys. Sorry I didn't get to all your comments. We really appreciate it. Rhonda, Shelley, Patricia, Cliff, Ralph, Len.
We had a great show.
I know I didn't get all of you, and I apologize. Tim Shore, congratulations once again on doing the right thing. It's good stuff, guys. We'll keep fighting. That's what we'll do.
All right. Hopefully, we'll see people on the 4th.
Yeah,
come on the 4th.
The Black Barn. You have to contact Bryan for the super secret, double secret location.
All right,
Take care,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.